Hey, this is Poncho here again for the second week of predictions. Last week's video was kind of long, so I kind of want to shorten this one up a little bit. I thought I did well last week. I was undefeated in the 5 games that I did, but sorry. But I didn't really pick any upsets, so that's not something big to boast about. But this week, I do have some upsets, so let's get down to it. I have 4 games this week. There really wasn't a 5th game that really was worth me picking, and really wasn't a significant 5th game that was really that great. So, first game I have is Virginia Tech and Ohio State. This one could change the season for both teams. Virginia Tech's looking for upset possibly, but Ohio State isn't exactly in the best states with Braxton Miller injured, but JT Barrett didn't look bad. He had some freshman mistakes, but that's to be expected. And it's still Ohio State. One player doesn't define the Ohio State University, so I think Ohio State's gonna win probably by a score of 35 to let's say 20 or 24, 35-24. So I think it's going to be a very not a very kind of a high scoring game actually, and the Cowboys I don't know why I said Cowboys, but the Ohio State defense is going to step up when they need to and get key interceptions. Next game, Michigan versus Notre Dame, and last year Devin Gardner had a big game against Michigan, and he had Heisman implications after that. And the rest of the season didn't really go as planned. He didn't do bad, but it wasn't exactly a Heisman season. So this year, I think he's one of the dark horses in the Heisman race. I think he's not necessarily a dark horse, but he still isn't really getting talked about for Heisman consideration. I think he has a skill, but Notre Dame, they have Everett Golson back. They're at home, and their defense isn't bad, but I think Michigan's gonna come out with an upset here. I think the combination of Devin Gardner and Devin Funchess is going to do well against a not as strong secondary of Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame, even though they played Rice and they looked pretty good, they didn't really look that great, and I mean Lou Holtz is gonna disagree with me, but I think Notre Dame loses this week. USC and Stanford. This one gave me a lot of thought because USC did great, end of the season great last year, but everything that's going on, and Stanford was dominant last week. They didn't really play anyone. I forgot how they played, like UC, Santa Barbara, Irving, something like that. But so I think I'm gonna give this one to Stanford. Their defense, they're playing at home. Their defense is always good, and I think it's gonna be a tough test for Steve Sarkisian and his experienced coach. But I think this one I'm gonna have to give it to Stanford. I know he's a first time coach there at USC. I think he's gonna be a surprise player and coach and surprise team in my opinion, like Auburn last year. I don't think they're going to make it to the national title game, but Auburn lost their first big game to LSU, and then the rest of the year they adjusted and continued doing well. I'm not going to make a bold prediction here, but I think USC is going to be on a similar track. They're going to lose this game, and I think they're going to do really well the rest of the way. If this makes any sense. Game of the week shouldn't be that big of a surprise with Michigan State and Oregon. And Oregon is this game. everything Vegas is pointing to Oregon. It's the analysts are pointing to Oregon. Oregon, you got to consider they're at home in Eugene. They run a tough offense. They have Marcus Mariota, and they they're a speed team and a team they're riding high mostly. And but I think Michigan State has some advantages over Oregon that I think are going to override Oregon in this game. And I think Michigan State pulls off the upset because Oregon just doesn't do well against tough teams. Well, not necessarily tough teams, but uh, kind of a tough smash mouth mentality, running the ball up the middle, uh, which Jeremy Langford's going to do a lot in Michigan, and Michigan's defense is not as good as last year, but they did well, and they beat Stanford last year, a team that for 3 quarters completely dominated Oregon last year. So and still beat them. But